Say that an understatement is the tensions are very high, obviously on both sides, and realistically there are very few people that are kind of undecided or in the middle on this, both I think in our community as well as statewide and certainly nationally. People have weighed in on this. The thing that I would like to try to do is to separate some of the emotion from this and talk about specifically about how this may impact the school district of Mauston. Regardless of how individuals view the budget repair bill and Governor Walker's proposed budget that's going to be coming out, depending on what side of that it is, the reality is that once that all shakes out, the school district needs to come together, both as employees, administrators, employees, teachers, students, parents, board members, and so forth, and try to do what's really in the best interest of the district and our kids. And with that, I guess I would just like to highlight a few things that we know, and it's really frustrating at this point in time. I tried to write some things down so I didn't forget things, but the reality is there's far more questions out there than there are answers, and as a result it's extremely frustrating as an administrator, certainly as a board of education, and whether it would be staff or the community, because there's so many big question marks and unknowns out there, and I'm only going to be responding to what I guess I know or I think I know, which is oftentimes very dangerous from what we know about this right now. Okay. The budget repair bill is the thing that's getting all of the press right now. How that's going to work out between the governor and the legislature to be continued, as we all know. There are even sketchier details about Governor Walker's budget out there in terms of what's specifically in it. He was scheduled to propose his budget publicly tomorrow. Well, with all of the other incidents that have taken place in the last week, he's pushed that back at least another week to see how the rest of the drama unfolds there. And as a result, there's more questions than there are answers as we put all this together. Okay. Governor Walker and the members of his Republican caucus have indicated that we should view both the budget repair bill and his proposed budget as two things that need to work together and be part of the same type of thing. And the budget repair bill is supposedly to deal with the current budget shortfall between now and the end of this fiscal year, which is June 30th, but then also supposedly provide school districts with some mechanisms, or municipalities with some mechanisms, to navigate through a very ugly budget that is being projected or proposed. Okay? The budget repair bill will give school districts and municipalities supposedly the tools to offset the drastic cuts in aid that are proposed to eliminate the state's $3.6 billion deficit. Now, although we know very little about Governor Walker's budget, he has let it be known that in that budget he is calling for $900 million in direct aid cuts to school districts in the state of Wisconsin over a 2-year period, or $450 million per year. For the school district of Mauston, our projection is that will be approximately $1 million in lost aid for next school year. Okay? And even with the increase in employee contributions to health and retirement, and some federal stimulus money through an education jobs fund that we received late towards the end of last year, that our Board of Education has judiciously said we wanted to hold on to, because we wanted to try to eliminate going through what we've been going through the last few years in terms of trying to cut personnel. And up until a few weeks ago, we were quite confident that that education jobs allocation fund, about $331,000 would have been enough to provide us with enough relief to avoid budget cuts. Now, unfortunately, some things have changed in the last couple of weeks that have perhaps made that a little bit more difficult in terms of when we're talking about $1 million in less aid. We're projecting that ultimately, even with that education job funds money, and if indeed the concessions by employees in both retirement and the health insurance that he's talking about, those types of percentages come across, you know, we still may be possibly looking at a $240,000 up to a $240,000 deficit or shortfall at this point in time with what we perhaps know. Now, this is before Governor Walker unveils his proposed budget a week from Tuesday. We don't know what else is in there that is going to directly affect school districts. Okay? Knowing that they have a $3.6 billion budget deficit to resolve, I can't believe that there's a lot of good things in there that are going to help us relieve our local budget pressures. Okay? And as a reality, you know, the district has to try to deal with these and a lot of unknowns at this particular point in time. Now, approximately around 4 o'clock, the district was faced with the reality that we had substitute teacher requests. At that point, with 56 teacher requests. There's no way that we have enough manpower to cover not only those classes and those, but to deal with that type. And that was just at 4 o'clock, not to say what else could take place. I'm just speaking officially for both the Board of Education and myself. The reason that school was canceled was simply not to support teachers to go to Madison in that particular instance. It was to make sure that students, because we didn't have the capacity to make sure that all of those students could be properly supervised. The need, I felt that the need was there to cancel school on that day. I guess I would like to go back to my first statement here, though. Okay, the tension is extremely high. Nobody knows fully how this is going to shake out, whether it be the budget repair bill and, of course, how the ensuing biennium budget is going to shake out. But the reality is that the school district, like the other 424 or 5 school districts in the state, are going to have to try to work together to do what's in the best interest for our kids first